Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. It is Hugo Quintanilla here with another episode of the Live at 5. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, and I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube Live, we will also have the replay on YouTube if you want to check it out. Do not forget to subscribe and check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Again, I am Hugo Quintanilla, your local Maryland realtor. I've been doing a lot of retail today, but I am licensed in Maryland, here to help you. And this is your little 15, 20-minute spot a day to learn a little bit more about real estate and how it impacts you and how you can take advantage. If you have any questions or comments, feel free and leave them in the comment section below. DM them, send me a text message at 240-389-4846, or go ahead and send me an email at hugo@lnf.com. My website actually is Hugo, your realtor, hugo.com. And I would be more than happy to help you or anyone you know in buying, selling, leasing, or investing in real estate. And today is another show where we're going to talk a little bit about the news stories of the week. And usually we do this on Sunday, but I feel that with the type of holiday that we're having with Christmas and everything tomorrow, I think it's going to be more important to look at a different topic for tomorrow versus the top news stories. So we're going to actually do the top news stories today, and this is been for the last week, because what you'll notice is that a lot of the news is around the same topics. Buying, affordability, and interest rates going below 7, which was something that was very unexpected to some degree. We also got great indications from the Fed of what they were going to be doing next year, and that made the markets really, really happy. So we're seeing a pretty good economic standing right now. We haven't really had the type of recession that we were expecting, which is good, but it still leaves work to be done because we're still on the road to that hopeful soft landing that the Federal Reserve is looking to execute. But we are also dealing with other issues: affordability, living wages, jobs. So there are a lot of things at the same time in play, and that all kind of bounce and work off of each other. Also, if you guys saw, we had a few news stories that had to do with the NAR lawsuit. There was a lot of attention on that, again, because of an interview that was done. If you want to learn more about that, you can definitely do your research. I don't think too much is going to change in that regard. So I don't feel that it's too important of a news story for us to cover any longer until there is an actual update. Um, I see a lot of clickbait, and it's really disappointing because you see some agents that a lot of people respect a lot, talking about this stuff, and I think it's highlighting a lot of the reasons why people don't like to work with realtors. And, everyone's different. So I would definitely suggest that you speak to a realtor that you know, like, and trust, and try to weigh your options, because with any business in any industry, you can always have great players and people that are at the top of their game. And then you can also have people that are, how do you say, just getting by. So it's very important to vet and, you know, do your research and look at reviews and look at who and what this person does in the industry. And really, that's about the best you can do, is try to do research on what's going on with this person and why you want to work with them. You always want to work with a trustworthy operation and a trustworthy realtor that has good reviews. I'm not saying it's going to predict the future for you, but it will definitely give you a good indication on how well they know the business. And really, more than anything else, I think that's what sometimes causes people to have legal issues is a conflict of expectations versus reality. And in real estate, that can happen a lot because people expect certain things in real estate. And sometimes, most times, the things that people expect are not the things that we get. So, speaking of expectations, home sales started to rise, building momentum for 2024. And that's the top story that we're going to be leading out with this week. A recent surge in construction of single family homes could offer more opportunities for home buyers in the new year. We were talking a little bit earlier this week about new construction. And I think actually that will be the topic that we'll discuss tomorrow. I've been having a lot of people talk to me about new construction and about the pros and cons of it and what people think. Also, I've been seeing some corporate investors that have asked me about feedback on Lennar and what they've done with some of their assets and how they're liquidating in certain regions. But I think here, it's a little bit of a different ball game, and I think we have to go by prior history and prior experience and realizing that it's a really sought after area. People want to live here, and because of that, new construction here is in very healthy demand. We are still not seeing a drawback. Perhaps maybe in price there might be some pushback, but really, when you get into the thick of the spring and summer season, you will see a lot of these properties fly off the shelves. We're seeing builders more than anything in this area doing concessions when they are close to the end of a lot that they need to complete. But for the most part, we haven't been seeing a decrease in pricing when it comes to that. We have maybe seen more incentives, maybe adjustments and concessions, but not really a lowering of the price. So new construction is still continuing to rise. And like we've said before, sometimes the issue with new construction is not so much that there are building new construction, is that that new construction is very expensive for the average person. So the three best European countries to buy a vacation home. Spain, Portugal, and Italy are the top three European countries to buy a vacation home, according to recent reports. Oh, Spain. If I could go to Spain and spend time there and retire, I it's one of my dreams. I think that would be amazing to retire in Spain. Italy as well, and Portugal, come on now, that'd be great as well. But I feel more comfortable in Spain than I do in Italy and Portugal. But all three beautiful countries and beautiful ways to spend the latter part of life. Sub 7% mortgage rates could start a thaw in housing market, Redfin's Fairweather says. Redfin's Fairweather predicts that sub 7% mortgage rates could start a thaw in the housing market. And that is part of the new algorithm and AI system that they're using over at Redfin. It's going to be interesting to see what that system kind of how it renders compared to what we've been using before. But Redfin has always prided themselves on having good data. So hopefully it works. Don Pebbles, we look for opportunities when the market is not functioning well. Don Pebbles shares his strategies for finding opportunities in a market that is not functioning well. And that was actually on the NAR Realtor site. So go ahead and check that out. A lot of really good tips and insight from Don Pebbles. And Peebles, I'm so sorry. And it gives you more insight on how cyclical real estate can be and how it comes around. There are times when it goes up and times when it goes down. So just understanding that and not getting too caught up in the headlines is really important, especially right now. I just heard a great TikTok from Kyla Scalone, the TikTok economist that's been really popular on Bloomberg. She did a great piece talking about how looking for opportunity, and I'll probably share it later on. She says it a lot better than I can, but looking at the history of things and looking at where we've been versus where we're going and how the economy is kind of fluctuating with that is crucial because the genius of moments like this, when people are scared to invest is that you can find opportunities that the average person cannot and take advantage of a situation where most people are fearful. And that's one of the greatest quotes I think Warren Buffett has is be aggressive when others are fearful and be fearful when others are aggressive, because you have this opportunity to move against the current. And that's when really you can see the best benefit. Continuing, there are not enough houses to satisfy demand, says NAR's Tracy Casper. Tracy Casper of NAR says there are not enough houses to satisfy demand. Something that NAR and everybody else has been saying. There just is not enough inventory in the market, and NAR has been pushing that. Tracy, I think, is the new head of NAR ever since Bob Goldberg stepped down, ever since the initial verdict from the real estate lawsuit came down. There was a change of the top of that organization. So it's going to be interesting to see how Tracy continues in the role. So far, she's been doing good. The interview from CNBC, I believe, was out, and that was really why this was back in the news, and she was back in the news this week. But yeah, shout out to NAR. Hope you guys are doing well. Uh, Manhattan median rent falls for the first time in over 2 years. Manhattan median rent falls for the first time in over 2 years. And Manhattan is a great indicator of the East Coast market, because if you're seeing price fluctuations there, the financial mecca of the world, then you are probably going to see them in other places. And that's really what we're noticing, is that there is a little bit of a softening. We're not getting these high end bidding wars. We're not getting these, over ask rental properties, even in a place so sought after as Manhattan, so expensive as Manhattan. If you can buy instead of rent right now, do it. Don't wait, says Shark Tank's Barbara Corcoran. Shark Tank's Barbara Corcoran advises people to buy instead of rent right now if they can. I really like the way that she has her approach to real estate. I think it's even and it's balanced. It's anyone can understand where she's coming from, and she gives pretty sensible, sound advice that's very easy to kind of pick up on. She talks a lot about real estate when she's interviewed, and it's very sound advice. She works predominantly in the New York market, but she's very insightful in other markets too, and that's not bad advice. It's really something that anyone can tell you, that buying is better than renting. But at the end of the day, we have to work with your budget. We also have to work with what you got going on. And that's really the important thing. Fixed mortgage rates should be around 6% by the time next year, says Moody's Mark Zandi. Moody's Mark Zandi predicts that fixed rate mortgages should be around 6% by the time this time next year. And a lot of people are saying that. We've actually had people say maybe in the middle sixes, not so far down as 6%, but the Federal Reserve has predicted and already is planning to have 3 cuts. So if we can say that those cuts are 1/4% each, we are at least expecting 3/4% less from where we're at right now. So we could easily be a little bit over the 6% mark by the end of next year. So that would be great, because it would give more buying power to everyday people trying to buy, and it can really bring more balance to the market. And we can maybe see a little bit of a calming of the seller's market that we've been having, and maybe a little bit more towards the buyers. Even though buyers don't get discouraged, right now we're seeing more people negotiate and more people getting a deal than we have in the past. Before, if you didn't throw away all your inspections, if you didn't throw away your appraisals and do cash or do whatever the seller wanted, you weren't getting that place. So now it's a little bit more balanced. There's a little bit of actual more negotiating going on. Number 9, mortgage refinance demand jumps 19% after rate hits lowest level since July. And that's what we're going to see, is that as the price starts going down on that, we're going to see refinances instead of people going and selling or doing something else. People are, how do you say, fearful of selling, because they know that if they sell, they'll have to purchase at another higher rate than they have been. But as the rates start to even out and we see more time go by from those rates, then we're going to have more and more people bite the bullet and do it. And that's really where you're going to see, I hope, I hope you don't see a surge of listings, because the danger of real estate is anything happening too fast. Too many properties on the market will plunge the market. Too few properties on the market will elevate the market. So it's a balancing act, and hopefully we see a steady increase of properties come on, but not a huge one. Because if we have a huge increase, like if all the inventory that we didn't get this year, that third of an inventory that we didn't get this year, if all that comes back next year, you're going to see prices definitely suffer. But if a trickle of that, maybe a third of that comes back on, you'll start to see again another increase next year. Maybe not a huge percentage, maybe 3-4%, but it'll increase. If we see no inventory, it'll increase more because the demand for those few properties that come on will skyrocket. So 2023 was the least affordable home buying year in at least 11 years, Redfin says. So Redfin report that 2023 was the least affordable home buying year in at least 11 years. And that's again based on their new algorithm and new people they have working over there. It's hard in the sense that affordability for the first time home buyer is not easy to come by. Most of the sought after places are highly sought after for a reason, and the competition is there. So the best thing I can do is don't worry about statistics and headlines like that. Focus on getting better prepared, more knowledgeable, find a clear direction on where you want to go and where you want to live, and be honest with yourself. Be honest about what it is that you need to be happy. We talked, I believe, last week about people looking more for joy in their properties and finding properties that are going to bring them more happiness than actually just a structure that looks nice. A lot of people used to buy homes because they were just a box and they had these key points. But over the pandemic, we realized that a lot of our homes don't serve us well, and we weren't using them to their fullest potential, or they were lacking in some areas. So, with the interest rates going as low that they did, 2-3%, we had so many people buy up all the inventory that was available. We had industry investors investing, we had everyone investing. So, keep in mind that it's hard to get into the game because there are players that have been in the game longer. But just because there are other players doesn't mean that you can't be a player too. And I think that's what I want to leave you with today is that you are in control. Just the same way that they achieved a level of wealth, success, and establishment in their business, you can too. You can start with one property, then two, then three. I know a lot of people that do this on their own without a license and make very good retirement income from it. So I hope that you guys are thinking about the future and thinking about these houses as more than just a place to live. Think about them as the banks that they are. Think about them as the business opportunities that they are. Think about the million and one things that you can do with a home when you really make it your own and you have no limit on money. I'm not telling you go spend your life savings on your house and, start hustling homes. But if you have the options to improve while you're improving, or if something breaks and you have the ability to improve it, do it. Do it. You'll be paying yourself in the long run because at the end of the day, at some point, that property will need to transfer hands. And any little bit that you can do to make that property better and improve that property can really earn its weight in gold sometimes. And the return on investment we've seen it's palpable. So if you guys have any questions about these stories or anything else that might have come up, feel free and reach out and let me know. My name is Hugo Quintanilla. This has been the Live at 5 with the top 10 news stories of the week. If you have any comments, feel free and leave them below or DM them. Send me a text at 240-389-4846. My email is hugo@lnf.com, and my website is yourrealtorhugo.com. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys. And thank you so much for all the support this year. I cannot wait to bring you more next year. And happy holidays. Thank you so much to my friends, family, God, manager, coworkers, all of you. Really, this whole thing wouldn't be possible without each and every one of you. And I can't thank you all enough for letting me do what I do every day. Thank you again, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and happy holidays, no matter the holiday that you celebrate. Take care. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.